Welcome to the Bucher and Friends podcast, co-starring 10-year NBA center Ryan Hollins.
Couple bump fakes, leans in, shot blocked by Ryan Hollins. Hollins sent that into the third row.
6 rebounds and 8 assists.
Hollins climbs the stairs.
Down the floor. Ryan Hollins! He is the high jumper!
That's what I want to see. Give me some gunpowder and throw the hammer down.
And now, here is your host,
Let's send it over to Rick Bucher.
Rick Bucher.
Welcome to another episode of Bucher and Hollins, subsidiary of Bucher and Friends, part of the United WeCast network. I'm Rick Bucher. You can read my stuff on Bleacher Report or on Twitter at Rick Bucher. You can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Bucher Friends. And he is Ryan Hollins, or as he's known on Twitter, at the Ryan Hollins. You can see him on ESPN, you can hear him on NBA radio, and you can hear and see him here on Bucher and Friends. Ryan, my brother, what is up?
What's up, brother? Hey, man, you make me sound real important when you talk like that, man. You talk that talk, Rick. Oh, your boy feels real special over here, man.
I know how to gloss it. So I'm coming to you from Chicago. I was here for the Bulls-Nets game, and then I'm headed to Las Vegas to catch up with the G League Showcase. It's really not about so much watching the games as much as it is seeing all the executives and personnel that are there.
Yeah.
Spending 2 days kind of finding out exactly what's going on around the league and chasing a couple of different stories. But I very, very quickly want to hit the Nets and the Bulls, because I had a chance to get in the locker room. The Nets winning down the stretch, close game. What was it? 96-93 was the final score. But the Nets, they have a good vibe about them. It's weird, but I could see them in the playoff picture. They don't.
Oh, you're going that far? Whoa! I told you I liked them. You're going that far.
They are seeing themselves in the playoff picture, and I like their vibe. I don't know if they have that go-to guy, and I don't know that they would do anything in the playoffs. But if you're asking me, for example,
that's still a strong statement, Rick. That's still a strong statement.
But let's look. Let's just take a quick look at the teams that are in right now at the bottom: Detroit, Charlotte, and Orlando. Everybody above them: Boston, Indiana, Philly, Milwaukee, Toronto. I'm not messing with them. I'm probably not going to mess with Detroit when all is said and done. I like their vibe too. Charlotte.
So you're kicking Detroit out? You're kicking Detroit out.
I'm saying I'm counting on them to make the playoffs.
Okay.
So I'm saying there's 2 spots up for grab in the Eastern Conference, and that's with Charlotte and Orlando. I certainly like Brooklyn more than I like Orlando to be that 8th playoff team. I don't know what's going on.
I'm interested. Why you like, you went to the games tonight, but why do you like the Nets so much? I know I like them. I want to hear why you like them, Rick.
I like them because they have all the pieces. They're a no-name team. They're one of these beautiful teams that they know that they need each other. There's nobody out there thinking, I can carry this thing. D'Angelo Russell at times may think that, but then he gets yanked back to reality. And you know what? And I don't mind having a guy who thinks a little bit like that. It's like Reggie Jackson with the Pistons.
Yeah.
Like Reggie thinks he's an all-star. I'm not going to dissuade him, because even if he's not, you love having a guy who thinks that way at the end of games, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, but I like their mix. You got Jared Allen. You got a little bit of rim protection. You got shooters on the perimeter.
I like Jared Allen.
Jared Dudley is a nice vet who just keeps things loose.
You got Jared Dudley and DeMar Carroll on the same team.
So they know without a doubt. First of all, no expectations. They've set their own. Like, nobody had any expectations for them. They're like, screw that. We're going to be a playoff team. We're going to set our own. And second, they know that they need each other. They collectively know they need to play defense. They need to share the ball.
What's up with Kenneth Faried?
I don't know. Other than what? That he doesn't fit in the modern NBA?
I guess you're answering my question. I guess you answered my question.
Other than that, I think he's aight, but he doesn't fit the game. This is what it is.
So you telling me he can't be Montrezl Harrell?
No.
Isn't he the original Montrezl Harrell?
You know, Montrez has got a little more than you think he does. He can finish with either hand. He rolls.
I don't know about either hand. In moments, opportunistically.
Have you ever seen Fareed even attempt a three much? I'm sure he has, but much less make one?
No.
Montrez,
I've seen
Montrez can make a standstill
games. Montrez ain't took 1 3 on the season. If he has, I'd be surprised. Maybe end of the shot clock.
I guarantee you. He not only made it, he made it from the top of the arc, and it was nothing but net. And I'm not saying that I want him shooting. Or
what game were you talking about? When was this, Rick? On the road?
It was a recent game. I was just shocked. And it was shot clock was running down. He had to take it, but I'm not saying I don't think that he took it and made it like I do this all the time in practice.
Yeah. No. I'm not saying I don't think he can shoot, but
all I'm saying is this. I think Montrez has he's got more in his bag than Fareed does.
Wow.
This is what happened with Fareed. Fareed was a great energy, rebounding, do all the little things type guy. And then I feel like he got paid and he wanted to be more than that. And he lost his identity. He forgot what got him paid.
Yeah, man. I am surprised when I saw he got traded to the Nets. Obviously, Jokic really took that position from him in Denver, made him expendable. And then I thought, okay, Nets, opportunity. They don't really have much. And then Jared Allen is playing really good basketball, rolling to the rim, dunking, blocking shots, contesting everything. Dude, he's got a lot. He blocked LeBron, Blake Griffin. There's a number of guys. He's just going to get it.
I feel like Fareed also expressed his frustration that he wasn't getting more touches or he wasn't more involved. And that's a death knell for a guy who's an energy guy.
That didn't work out. Yeah, that didn't work out.
Wow. So, anyway, I like the Nets. I like their vibe. Jared said it to me in the locker room afterward. He goes, how many teams have lost 8 in a row in a season and then won 7 in a row? And I don't know.
He's just happy because he outplayed LeBron the other night. Well, he's still happy off that.
He was happy tonight because he's still beating guys, putting the ball on the floor and getting to the rim. He's fooling them, man. And they look at Jared Dudley and they go, "This dude ain't got no wheels." And the next thing you know, he's a little shake. He's got a step. He's smart.
JD has been slow for a long time, and that's my rook right there, man. He's been slow for a long time, dude. And I remember when he got to Phoenix. See, Jared is smart enough to kind of figure what he needed to do. And he just worked tirelessly. I got to be able to shoot the 3 ball, gets to Phoenix, and leads the NBA in 3-point percentage, and the rest is history, Mm-hmm. But he just,
He was telling me, I said, you look good. He goes, lost a lot of weight last summer. It's a contract year.
That's JD. That's JD.
It's so good. So good. I'm going to have him on the podcast. I might even have him on next week because he's loving life right now. In fact, he goes, have me on the show, man. I'm not doing anything.
Well, we're waiting for JD on this side, man. We're waiting for him on this side. He's going to be a fellow broadcaster in studio somewhere doing something.
No doubt. All right. So, and then you have the Bulls on the other hand. And look, basically, we'll see where they go. They have some nice talent. They have some nice young talent. They kind of spit the bit, gave up the ball, had a bad turnover on last possession where they could have gone up with 7-8 seconds left. Trying to get it to Chris Dunn. To me, this is just growing pains of a young team. And as long as they stay with it, they continue to compete and play hard, they'll be okay. I like Markkanen. I like Chris Dunn. I like Wendell Carter. I like Bobby Portis. I think they have some pieces. I don't know if
you
they
like
have
that many Bulls. You like that many Bulls, Rick?
Right now, yeah. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, you got to define this. I respect you, and I like you. Those are a couple different things. I
like them. I'm not saying that they're going to take me anywhere. But
man.
I like them enough that I want to see if they can play in this league, as opposed to looking at young guys and going, I know the end to this story. Like Wendell Carter, I think he's good. I don't know how good he can be. Lauri Markkanen, now The question is going to be, can he defend? Can he move well enough to defend his position? But he's kind of built more for the modern game. Bobby Portis has to be that energy guy. And Chris Dunn, I like his attitude. He's got some Reggie Jackson in him. Now, is he better, worse, whatever? We'll see. That's what I like about him.
People, bro. He's disappointed a lot of people.
You mean he's disappointed Tom Thibodeau? And in that case, getting lost.
Minnesota too. They were calling him the next Russell Westbrook, man.
And then Tom Thibodeau got there. He never had a chance in Minnesota, and he's gone through crazy injuries, and he's had all sorts of stuff happen with him in Chicago. Let him stay healthy for a little bit, and then we'll decide exactly who he is.
No, I'm with that. I'm just saying, Rick. I think
we just
you call him the next Russell Westbrook.
I did not say that. I did not say that.
Okay, well, a lot of people did. Mark Spears. There's a lot of people.
Okay, don't bring Mark Spears aspersions into our podcast and suggest that I'm saying some of the same stuff.
Yeah, I gotta watch you sometime, right? Man.
You painting with the broad brush. You're part of the media now, so. When you paint with that broad brush and you say you guys, you're pointing a finger at yourself too, whether you like it or not.
Don't you like that some of us former players, we like that? Yeah, you guys always get excited over,
Yeah.
We play both sides of the fence.
Yeah, you damn well you do. Yeah, nobody does that more than Kevin McHale. Because Kevin McHale is part of the media, but he somehow he thinks that he's not. He's been part of the media maybe longer than he's been a head coach. But if you talk to him, he still has it in his mind that he's still a player or a coach. He's on the right side of the line. It's like
it doesn't go away. It doesn't go away. We smear the lines.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, the Suns beat the Celtics in Boston, 111-103, and the Suns have they've won 4 in a row. They beat Dallas, they beat Minnesota, they ran over the Knicks, and they just beat the Celtics.
They're the team that frustrates you because they can defend, and they got a bunch of guys that are the same size. They play these kind of bastard lineups with no point guard.
Wait a minute.
Where they facilitate and move the basketball. They frustrate you because they're long. They're super long, bro.
What do you mean they can defend? They're giving up 112 points a game.
No, they're rangy and they're long. That's because they take wild shots and they turn the ball over. You know what I'm saying? Their offense is giving up the cakes on defense, but they can frustrate you with their length. And they have Mikal Bridges, who sometimes and Jason. Why do I always mess up? Jason Jackson, Jaren Jackson, Josh Jackson. They throw him on the point guards and let him, have some ball handling responsibilities, and they become really tough to play against. And you're like, it's the Suns, but it's like, dang, they're long. They're long, dude.
They've doubled their wins for the season in the last week. I got to give a lot of credit to that coaching staff, Igor Kokoskov and Joe Prunty, his associate. I don't know if he's associate head coach, but he's the lead assistant. They've weathered a storm there. I mean, you move Tyson Chandler, you move Trevor Ariza, you basically clear the deck. Booker gets hurt. You clear the decks of your veteran presence in the locker room. You do get run regularly. I think, honestly, they're just that team that people look at their record and they look at their roster and they go, they expect a cakewalk. And you can't do that. You got to come correct on Phoenix. I think if you come out and you hit Phoenix hard early, they can't play from behind because they play that wild, crazy game. And you can lead them into that when they're trying to play catch-up. But if they're in a game, suddenly that ranginess on defense works. Booker as a go-to guy. DeAndre Ayton, had 18 boards tonight. He's spry enough to stay on the floor with smaller lineups.
Can I get some credit, Rick?
For what? I don't know.
I said, listen. I said, when it came to DeAndre Ayton, I said it, and you can play the tape back, Jonathan, that he was going to walk into a double-double. This is the safest pick, him at the number 1 pick. You're going to get a double-double each and every night out of him, and he can do that now. Rick, I said it. It's true.
Yeah. Okay. Jonathan, by the way, is our producer. He might clip that out. He might not even include that in the final edit.
Oh my gosh.
Boston is now 18-12. They're the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference. Where are you on a scale of 1 to 10? What's your level of concern for? I mean, they still went 8-2 in spite of the loss tonight, but they've they've had some really kind of disappointing, they've had some disappointing losses this season already. They got out of the gate slow. Where are you? How do you feel about them?
I still feel the same. Not the same, because Toronto's been really, really good this year. They challenge, but I just don't think that there's that urgency. There's always that feel that we can pick it up. And when you're playing on the East, you're not going to kind of risk injury or have this real push to be good, And you got to think, like I said, Phoenix took them into overtime the last time they played. So these are two teams that kind of go at it. Like, Phoenix just matches up with people well. And what's tough, so Phoenix almost beat the Clippers. Mm-hmm. And the Clippers just kind of won a muddy game at home against them, and then they went into overtime with them. But when you're a team that is predicated on finding your matchups, you kind of don't find favorable matchups. You got to beat them with team basketball and good, solid defense, So that's why I say Phoenix mucks things like that up, because a lot of people just post the smaller guards or take them on the perimeter. They can guard you.
The Wizards also took the Celtics to overtime, and they're 18-12. They've been doing it against a lot of teams that were not in the playoffs last year, or we do not expect to be in the playoffs this year. Check this schedule coming up for them. They now play Milwaukee, Charlotte, Philadelphia, Houston, Memphis, San Antonio, Minnesota, Dallas, Brooklyn, Indiana. That's a good run right there.
Oh, yeah.
There are no gimmies in that stretch.
Just really in the NBA in general right now, and that's a tough stretch right there. But, with the emergence of teams, even like the Kings being exciting, the Spurs in ninth place, there are literally no nights off. And, you just brought it up, Rick. I mean, one of these spans knocks you out the playoffs or sends you in, and you really can't get frustrated with it. You just got to play.
Yeah. The other big game, I don't think it qualifies as an upset. I'm not sure what it qualifies as, but the Warriors go into Utah and they lose to the Jazz 108-103. This final score is not as intriguing to me, or the result is not as intriguing to me as the final score. The Warriors scoring 103 points. And this is not the exception. This is sort of the rule for them of late. And I wonder how you feel about this. Is this a matter of them just not keeping their foot on the pedal? Or do you see a team that does not score quite the same way? Because if I just look at their last 6 games, they got 105 against Milwaukee. You would have expected that to be a higher scoring game. They scored 116 against Minnesota, but they had if I'm not mistaken, had a big first half and then kind of slowed down. They only had 93 against Toronto. Sacramento was 130-125, but they had to play to the end to eke out that game. They beat Memphis 110-93, and then they lose to Utah 108-103. Now, those are all triple digits, but they're not what we're used to with the Warriors. And I wonder whether you look at them and say, you know what, when you're using Kevon Looney at center, and when Draymond's not, on his game, and you're playing teams that are putting 5 guys out there that can score, and you're playing at this pace, that's what's going to happen. They can load up and they can minimize the damage that Steph, Clay, and KD are going to do. How do you look at it?
No, the same way, man. That injury to Damian James, DeMarcus not being ready yet. Yeah, it's hitting them, and the irony is that in the West right now, the best teams have centers. And them not having a center takes it where your margin of error. Mm-hmm. A center erases your mistakes. He grabs rebounds. He does all of the little things. That's what centers do. That's their value, whether you can see it or not. And that's not giving them the leeway to make mistakes. Mm-hmm. And because of that, they're getting themselves in trouble.
An NBA player said to me recently, the Houston Rockets are praying that DeMarcus Cousins plays for the Golden State Warriors. What do you make of that statement?
All the way true. All the way true. I'll give you a nice little example because I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. James Harden is going to have a pick and roll set by Capella, and he's going to have a field day. He's going to hit her either pull up three, drag out Boogie to the rim, throw lobs. It'd be a joke. The other night with the Clippers in Portland, and I'm working the game doing pre and post to this stuff, and the Clippers were on pace to lose the game. They were playing hard, doing what they could to lose the game. So Doc throws in the curveball, Boban. Mm-hmm. In the third quarter, Damian Lillard picked on Boban every single time down the floor. He called his man in the screens. Boban didn't jump up. 12 to 15 straight points I watched from Dame. Literally. So now they're saying we wish Cousins would be on the floor because if he's on the floor, we're getting whatever we want out of pick and rolls.
Mm-hmm. No, there's no doubt about it. By the way, it looks as if the Rockets may be coming out of their shell. You and I talked about this before, and you felt like the margin is still thin for them. But right now, Harden has it going. I mean, he's gone 50, 32, 47, and 35 in the last 4 games. I don't know if he can sustain it. My sense is that he can't, but they're looking a lot better. I'll just put it that way. I don't know how long he can carry that, but as long as he does, they're dangerous.
Well, he's getting into shape, and that's just kind of what he does. And James is a really, really intelligent player in that, he'll understand he has to be that much better, and he doesn't have the luxury of missing 7 or 8 straight points and then, gets to the point where he gets going to get his numbers. You don't have Trevor, and you don't have that. Now it's just spilled milk. So he's just got to go get it. But Rick, it is going to take those monster performances for them to win out, and he's literally so tough to guard. And when your team has a closer, it's the difference, man. Because Rick, as you watch and when we do with the Sports Bet Collective and everything, all these games are so close, man. They are so tightly wound, with each other.
Well, it's funny. Yes, anybody can beat anybody. The parity in the league right now seems to be at a premium, and maybe there's a divide between, the absolute elite. But again, even there, when you look at Houston, you look at Golden State, you look at Boston, everybody maybe except Toronto, they all feel vulnerable. They all feel like they could lose to anybody on any given night. And I don't know how much of that is the change in the game and the way it's being officiated, the fact that the game's being played so fast, and again, some rule changes that have amplified that. The start, and we're still, I think teams are still acclimating to the fact that the season starts in mid-October. And as you pointed out, that the scheduling of games is different. You don't have as many, you don't have multiple, like you're coming home for one game a lot in a lot of instances. I don't know what it is, but it does feel like, and this is what makes, Friday, the fact that we're doing as well as we are, prognosticating on games, makes it even more amazing because things are so unpredictable.
Well, Rick, you pointed to it, but it's a glaring thing. It's the 3-ball. The three ball it's unpredictable. You either just blow a team out, or you blow yourself out by taking bad threes, and that's what you saw. And a lot of teams are starting to temper that down. They're slowing up the pace, and that's why you see some of these teams that were top the NBA losing some, and some that were losing, they're gaining ground because they're now acclimating to each other because the NBA is just so competitive. So much film watch. There's so many resources about everything. But I'm just going to sum it up, dude, and say that the 3-point basket is changing basketball.
For the better?
Yeah, it's for the better. Because everybody can go crazy about post players, but you're just going to see taller post players that can do everything. At some point, everybody's going to have to dribble, pass, push the ball up court, shoot threes. That's the way NBA is evolving to that.
I had this conversation with my son the other day. He's 14, loves playing hoops, plays for school. He goes, it's not as exciting as it was. And we started talking about why that was. And I think part of it is because we see everything. And so for something to register as spectacular, the bar keeps getting set higher and higher. Because we see, now that we have everybody with smartphones and everybody's recording everything, we see 60-foot buzzer beaters from grade school on up. You might see 2 or 3 of those at different levels on any given night or on Twitter on any given day. So, like the bomb or the game-winning 3 or the reverse dunk in traffic. Like, our expectation is so high for something that really captures our imagination. And that's where, like, the three-point ball and the shooting today, I don't know if it's all good. It feels like it's made the game too linear. Like, you're coming down and you're either trying to get to the rim or you're shooting a long three, and you're either hitting it or it's a long rebound and it's going back the other way. In some ways, it's, dumbed down the sport, simplified it. It feels a little rote. I understood what my son was saying, and there's sometimes I feel that too.
No, man. I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think you get this, your scoring offense is always good. I think this is the thing that drives guys like being you nuts, is when you see teams trying to play fast and they just abandon basic philosophies, defensively, shell drill, covering down, rebounding for guards, or just like, damn it, you're just going to give a guy a layup? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the part where we're like, yo, like guys not competing. That's the part where we're like, Rick, like, we're cool on that. Like, if that's what basketball is, we're not playing basketball.
Right. Yeah, they play fast when they have no capability of winning playing fast.
Yeah, and they don't care.
It's just, it's comfortable and it's easy. Yeah, and look, I wonder too, I'd love to hear from our listeners on Twitter, or you can email us, bucherandfriends@gmail.com. One, if there are any topics that we're not hitting that you'd love to have us hit or chop up. And the other is whether there's any shared feeling on that. Because you and I have been watching you playing in thousands of games. And year after year, it's our job to see and observe and analyze everything. And so there can also be that where you just get a little fatigued, right? You see everything, and at some point, it's like it takes a little bit more for it to register on your scale. I don't know if that's a function of what we do or whether there is a fan base out there that is experiencing the same sort of fatigue.
Oh, and real quick, buddy, we failed to mention Devin Booker is back, and he had 25, 5, and 8. Keep in mind, under Earl Watson's tutelage, gave the Celtics 70 points. So there's something about Devin Booker that loves going into Boston. I don't know what. I know he's a trash talker. I know that don't let that little baby face fool you like that. Hey, he talks with the best of them.
I've heard that. Yeah.
Oh, he's a dog.
He needs to, talking about guys who need to do it at both ends of the floor, though. He's a great scorer. I mean, he's a great scorer. And he's fearless in that regard. I see too many games where, and it's honestly, it's a function when you're on a bad team and you're not playing for anything year after year. Bad habits creep in. I'm seeing a lot of bad habits creeping in at the other end of the floor.
No, absolutely. And I think you got to keep on churning, but it's tough. They start looking over at their teammates and going, well, guys are saying, well, front office, you guys haven't committed to nothing. I got the same team, if not worse. So I'm jacking threes. I'm not playing defense. I'm not going to sacrifice my body.
And I got paid.
And he got paid.
He got paid.
And he got paid.
Which has got to be that's got to be the worst combination, to have like a max contract on a team that's absolutely going nowhere. Being able to maintain your intensity, goodness gracious, I can't.
Yeah, but your first deal isn't bad. You know, you need it. You know, you're not complaining that much. You know, the most money you've ever seen.
I'm always curious. I asked Kyle Anderson this the other day when he signed the Memphis deal, because he came from a guy who was his rookie year. He was spending some time in what was then the D League, and I don't know that he could have imagined signing for 40 plus with anybody at that stage. I'm always curious when it hits or how it hits, and when you really know, you know what, I'm about to get some bank. I'm about to make some bank. I'm about to sign a deal. I'm about to have some cash roll into my bank account that is going to profoundly change my life from where it was when you were in college or high school or wherever. When does that hit? Because everybody plays it so cool, like they expected it all along. You just can't. when you suddenly got 50 mil, you got 50 mil guaranteed or whatever it might, 10 mil, whatever it might be. I mean, that's how crazy it is.
But Rick, there's some truth to that because people expect that. That's why you see guys wilding out when they don't get paid. That's why you see the kid at Golden State sitting out, McCall.
Patrick Mahal.
Like we compete, and sometimes you got to sit back and trust your agent, or else guys lose out on money and lose out on opportunities. Trevor is in the news right now. He just got traded. Lakers really wanted him. Lakers pulled a gangster move. They put his deal on the table for like 48 hours or 24 hours. He didn't take it. As soon as they did that, they offered the same money to Ron Artest. Trevor ends up going to Houston for the exact same money they could have stayed in LA for. Mm-hmm. So we compete as players, and then we're not as surprised when we get the money, but yet it's something life-changing when it actually hits you.
Yeah, and that's what I'm curious is when it hits. Like, okay, so you're expecting it. But when you sign
in your head, yeah.
When you sign on the dotted line, when you know that it's coming, it's in the bank, that's gotta do you? And it sounds kind of quaint or whatever, but do you celebrate? Who do you call?
Yeah.
Like, what do you?
Celebration. That's a celebration, dude. But think about it. The guy who's paid $60 million feels like he should be paid $70. It's rare that guys are just getting their money. The Ryan Hollins or the Della Vadovas of the world. Right. Hey, Della Vadova was like, yo, we're investing in this bad boy. We're investing in this. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I think it was Tyler Johnson with Miami was like, I mean, literally, I think said something to the effect of, I can't believe they gave me $50 million.
Nah, man, you go through that G League or that D League, and then, you got to grind versus the guy who's still in La La Land. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And you to be an athlete, at the NBA level, you kind of got to be in La La Land because we normally obtain those goals.
Right. Fair point. Speaking of goals, LeBron James apparently has the goal of getting Anthony Davis to the Lakers. Somebody just said that with all that free agent space, that they envisioned it was more likely that they would make a deal for somebody and that Anthony Davis made all the sense. Oh, wait a minute. I know who that was. That was me. I said that. I said that after the LeBron KD story came out. That's right. Anyway, it's now.
You did. You've been on it, man.
Somebody now.
They need to download the pod.
I get as many. I can't say I get as many wrong as I get right, but.
Nah, you don't mess up with that stuff, Rick. There's no messing up there.
I've gotten a few wrong. I will acknowledge that. All that said, somebody now asked LeBron how he felt about Anthony Davis going to LA. First of all, have we just have forgotten, or are we just going to ignore? There's no such thing as tampering anymore. I mean, there is tampering. There's no such thing as a rule against tampering. Because since when can you start to talk about a guy coming to LA who's under contract with another team? I get that players aren't under the same rules as front office, but still, I don't know. I don't know what's the media shouldn't. I don't know what the answer is, but it just feels all kinds of wrong. It feels so disrespectful to the New Orleans Pelicans to be talking about Anthony Davis going to the LA Lakers when he has at least another year on his contract.
No, it's funny you say that because I was thinking the same thing. And any other answer that AD gives other than what he gave, your season's over. It really spoils everything. So he's got to keep those cards tight. Mm-hmm. And not just that, you got guys like LeBron with the decision and a number of athletes that have kind of, gone about moving the wrong way and things get ugly. So he's got to be a guy that New Orleans is almost looking at him like, yo, it's time to go. Yeah. Like, you got to go. You know what I'm saying? So that's a big part of why he responded to saying, oh, that's nice. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about playing basketball right now. But he knows darn well you sign with LeBron James and say you're on your way to L.A., bud, or you're pushing. And New Orleans is the one who's, hand-picking which Laker young guy they want.
Right. Young guys and
guys,
picks.
Yes.
Because I do believe that in a way the Pelicans do have some leverage here because the Lakers need to make it happen sooner rather than later. And
if you're gonna help out the Lakers, you see Washington was like, we ain't helping the Lakers out. Like, the Lakers got to almost overtrade for some of these guys, because no one in the league is going to help out the mighty Lakers with however many NBA championships. No one's doing that, dude.
Especially being in the same conference. I mean, I think that's why it was a point by Phoenix that they were not, after sending Tyson to LA, there was no way in hell they were going to send Trevor there as well.
You can't get everything.
San Antonio is the same thing.
Well, technically they didn't send Tyson there. Tyson chose LA.
Well, yeah, but Phoenix took a little bit of a hit. James Jones took a hit on that one because whether it had anything to do with it or not, the fact that he and LeBron played together in Cleveland for a number of years, it looked like he was in, and that was exactly what the Lakers needed. And they didn't get anything in return. They just let him go. So
it was a gentleman's move. Tyson's earned his stripes to do that.
Yeah, I'm not faulting anybody, but I'm not, and that includes people who might give James Jones and the Suns a hard time for just letting a guy go and going to play for the competition. It's a nice gesture. Phoenix has to do a lot more than that to improve their standing, I think, among players and the way they are viewed. By the way, rumors like this, if the NBA isn't squashing them at every opportunity, rumors like this are why the NBA is a year-round spectacle now.
Very true.
The mobility of stars, the opportunity and ability and potential of the stars in the league realigning on a regular basis is what captures the imagination of fans. And it's a transaction league now. It's fantasy sport. Fantasy leagues are being mirrored by reality. Because this is what it is when you're in fantasy. You get to pick a new team every year. Your team may suck in any given year, but you know what? I'm a GM. Next year, we draft all over again, and maybe next time I'm going to get Steph Curry and Anthony Davis and LeBron James on the same team. There's always that hope. Well, now that exists in the reality of the NBA. Here's my question. Considering where LeBron is, considering who LeBron and Anthony Davis are, what could they do together? What could they do together, and what would they need?
I mean, it would work because AD does a little bit of everything. He's a guy you can post up. At the end of games, I don't think you expect much from him.
Nope.
And, LeBron could make it work. And in, certain lineups, he could even play center. They don't really have like a five, a small ball five right now. You know what I'm saying? Well, LeBron is the small ball five, but you want to avoid that as much as possible. But he gives you a roller. He gives you a lot of dynamic things. The one thing he would have to improve by playing with LeBron is that three-point shot.
Yep. And
he can shoot them. He's got a stroke, but he's going to have to be really, really good out there. And then defensively, the Lakers need help rebounding, shot blocking. I mean, we can name a number of categories, but they would get really scary if they still have those two bigs in there defensively.
See, that's the thing. Would it be dynamic? Yeah. Would I like to see it? Sure. Would I say it's a wrap? Like, no. I still need to know, like, what's the rest of the team composed of? You're still going to need 4 or 5, not superstars, but you're going to need quality key players if you're talking about Anthony Davis and LeBron competing for a championship. Because this is the thing. LeBron, to me, ideally loves to be the facilitator. What I really want to put with him is a closer. AD is not a closer. AD in many ways is a Robin, certainly more than he is Batman. So I still need another dynamic piece to go with them if I'm looking at that team and saying it's got a chance of winning a championship.
No, I've said that for years, but he gets a lot. They get a whole lot closer, man. They get a whole lot closer. And then he's a guy who can even, he kind of like rips Golden State a new one when they play, So if you want to look at Golden State, he's a matchup nightmare for them.
This is the other thing is AD needs to stay healthy. I think you brought it up earlier in the year. Availability is part of being successful, right? What was the line you had?
The best ability is availability.
There we go.
You know what I'm saying? Just by being there, bro. So he misses a lot just naturally. Like, if he plays too hard, he's got to change his game. his body isn't up to par. I don't know what it is, but he misses a lot of games, Rick.
Yep, agreed. All right, that's a wrap for this episode of Bucher and Hollins, subsidiary of Bucher and Friends, part of the United WeCast network. You can follow him at the Ryan Hollins and me at Rick Bucher on Twitter. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Bucher Friends. By the way, we are having our drawing, and I don't have the result yet, but we are giving away the Jerry Rice football, and I've put together a swag bag of Bleacher Report socks.
Oh.
A Trust Ye Process Game of Zones t-shirt.
Hey.
And a Game of Zones ball cap. All
nice.
Courtesy of Bleacher Report. So please rate the show at iTunes or wherever you get your podcast. Screenshot the review. It's just the ratings, the stars. Screenshot it, send it to @BucherFriends, and you'll be eligible for the next prize, which I just described. In the meantime, in the next podcast, Ryan and I will go through all the Friday night games, and we will give you our picks against the spread and the over-under. We were both 11-7 last week. We've never been below 50%. Ryan is, I think you're cooking like it's 70-75%. So if you're just interested in competing against us, or you want to lay some money down, this is the place to come before you do that, and we'll give it to you all tomorrow. Thanks for listening.